Hello Sabine, thank you very much for participating here. You are not only known for being an expert in the finance industry, but especially also in the insurance industry, a very known face around the world. My question to you is, because you have such in-depth insights into the different markets, where do you see similarities and differences considering the digital readiness of insurances and banks?
People who know me in the industry have seen me talk about the fact that we need to look at other industry, digital health, artificial intelligence, robotics, which actually sitting as sector on their own. For example, there's over 4,000 startups in AI. 50% of them have received investment, which represent 32 billion, and they have a few unicorns. So by looking at other sectors is very important for us to understand what is going to come ahead. Being here at Money 2020, I can actually see some of the patterns, some of the themes that banks are looking at to actually transform their business. So I spent a lot of time yesterday on the AI. This morning I was in the identity room. Business unit being built around those competencies. So you will have head of applied sciences focusing on AI and looking at major use cases across the end-to-end value chain of the bank around artificial intelligence, so using applied sciences. You will see the same happening in digital identity. So being now another business unit within the bank, let's look at what transformation is happening within the banks and how they are rebundling those components together so that we can actually inform our insurance companies as to how they can become competitive in the marketplace by taking a similar approach.
All right, you talked about your corporate partners. For the one or two people that might not know about you and your company, maybe share a little bit how have been your last year and what are you looking ahead for? Because I heard you spend a lot of time in the US right now.
So we started in 2015, working with a number of insurers. So we work now with approximately 30 insurance companies who are actually our corporate sponsors. They are my investors, and they tell me, Sabine, go out there and find startups which can work for us. And so from having now done 3 years of acceleration programs, combining corporate companies and helping them find the right startups to work with them, we have launched a program in the US. Hartford, Connecticut, ask us to help them launch a program in the US.
All right, thank you very much. We will see in a few years. Thank you very much.
Pleasure.
Bye. Hemel, thank you very much for taking the time. How do you like the show so far?
Yeah, it's been fantastic. I think a great set of speakers, great content. It's my first time to the European one. Always good to catch up with good friends and to learn more about what's happening in the industry.
Which talk did you like most?
I think the first session on yesterday where Ralph Hammers gave an introduction was probably my favorite. I think he set the perfect tone for where the industry's going, and it was refreshing to see an incumbent have an honest conversation of what needs to change, but also to see that they're making some significant investments to move towards that change.
I will surely make sure to watch that one on YouTube if they publish it there. 2018 is gone already. What do you see in the next 12 months as dominating topics and things that might surprise us all?
I think the biggest question now is, how does the ecosystem develop, and what does open banking and platforms look like, and how are banks going to effectively find the right partners, and how do they work closely together? Because I think there's an acknowledgement that they're not going to be able to move as quickly and innovate everything internally. So I think those banks that can find the strategy to find the right partners to work with them and to find ways to scale it up is going to be critical. And I think we're starting to see some successes in the industry, but a lot more work to be done in that area.
And what kind of tips could you give innovators that struggle to optimize and modernize internal processes and structures in their large companies?
I think probably the top priority is to start with leadership and culture. I think, technology is important in understanding how to move and be agile, but without the right leadership support and without a focus on the people who are going to make that change, the game doesn't start until you actually start changing your culture and get the right leadership support behind it.
Bill, it was a pleasure. Thank you very much.
All right, great. Thanks.
Hey, Urs, thank you very much for being here and being on the show. How do you like the Money 2020 so far?
Hi Robin, good to be here. I mean, I'm first time at Money 2020, so I haven't been in Copenhagen or so. I'm overwhelmed by the by the size, the number of people, but also the quality of the first sessions I joined. It just began in the morning with Ralph Hammers, ING CEO. I think many other CEOs of the big banks could learn from him in terms of mindset and the way they actually really fundamentally change their whole bank.
What I really like about ING, even though they are not sponsors of the show or anything, if you look at their digital products they put out there for the customer, you really see also results of their digital endeavors. So they have cool apps, cool services, in contrast to other large banks. So I totally agree with you. So 2018 is already past. It's shocking, I know, but at least the weather is good now in the summer in Europe. So what are you expecting in the next 6 months? Any surprises? Something you would bet your house on?
Oh, yeah. I mean, 6 months almost over. I think since I started my personal independent advisor role, it's actually a roller coaster only going upwards. It's fantastic. And I just recently had my first proper ICO advisory mandate and others. And as you can see on my LinkedIn profile, I'm engaged in various ways. People ask themselves, how can Urs Bolt doing this? But you know, my name is my brand, Bolt now. It's all about action. And I'm driving things forward.
You should do t-shirts of that. That's really cool, by the cool sentence.
I will probably come to that, but what I'm doing basically is in most the advisory roles are usually not time bound, so I don't have to spend a lot of time with them, and I'm happy to share my knowledge, my network, my insights, my forward-looking thinking, but also how to make it happen right now or short term. And then I just recently joined Pixio. Pixio Chain is a new protocol where we basically have data wallets, personal data wallets. Now in the age of GDPR, Facebook scandal, etc., personal data is even more of a big issue, and how to make that regulatory compliant for banks, health sector, etc. That's a big topic, and it's probably one which will go on the next few years, because everyone is talking about how can you actually integrate your data and make onboarding more easy, and buying products more easy, and at the same time investor protection with MiFID II and GDPR and open banking and
PSD2.
PSD2, exactly. A lot of contradictory regulation, and how can you do that actually in this complex world?
Yeah, but then we would not have any work. So thank you, regulators, to Brussels for that. Yeah, and thank you for you, Urs, for spending your time with me, and have a lot of fun with your rocket ride.
Thank you, Robin.
Hey, Sanjib, thank you very much for joining us. You are the CMO of Money 2020. Do you want to tell us a little bit more? How did this gigantic and very cool show actually start?
Well, the way that this show started was that we were actually a group of people that were operators in the industry. We saw that payments was changing, we saw that financial services was changing, and you had new entrants in the market like Google, like the telecoms and the merchants, and we wanted to get everyone together. We wanted to help promote dialogue, we wanted to help promote partnerships, and we wanted to create an event that was fun. And so that's why we decided to create something, you know, that was very different from everything else that was in the market at the moment.
As you said, your show has grown a lot, and what I really found, and I visited already several workshops and talks, and I was really impressed by the concrete stuff entrepreneurs and representatives of corporates talked about, like really showcases and use cases. How do you make sure that it's not just the normal PR blah blah that's being sold?
That's a great question. I think a lot of that comes down to knowledge of the industry and helping drive that. And you know, the funny thing is that a lot of times when you talk to a company that does A, they don't want to be known as A, they want to be known as B. But in reality, they're A. And so you have to, in the end, you have to really force people to tell it like it is. And if we are successful in that, then we can promote more open dialogue, then we can promote people to exchange ideas, exchange emails, contact information, and then hopefully help progress the industry.
So in the rare case that there should there should be people out there that are hesitating to make the travel to Amsterdam, to Las Vegas, or other locations where you have your shows. In a few words, why should they come and attend?
Well, I guess it's fun, you learn, and it's nothing like else in the world.
Well, I surely agree with that. So thank you very much, and thank you, Sanjib, for your time.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.